Hi, my name is Ekaterina Prasolova-Førland. I'm a professor at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology and leader of immersive technologies for learning research group and lab. And this is my colleague Mikhail Fominykh, who is the researcher and coordinator of the lab, and our third author, master student, unfortunately couldn't come. So our project is about empowering young job seekers with virtual reality. Youth unemployment is a serious problem both in Norway and worldwide. And we wanted to do something about it. There are traditional methods of career guidance, like providing users with text descriptions of different jobs, sending users to internships at different companies. But young job seekers often are not satisfied with these methods. Many of them are dropouts from high schools. Many of them have dyslexia. Many of them suffer from social anxiety. Therefore, when they get all these text descriptions of jobs, they feel lost. And some of them, when going to physical job placement, they might feel anxious about being in different social situations. And many of them also play a lot of computer games. That's why we came with this idea of a virtual internship project where we address this young audience of up to 25 years, both high school students and young unemployed who are not sure what they're going to be. The goal of the project is to provide them with simulations of workplaces and typical tasks in VR, AR, and MR with gaming elements, giving them an immersive and engaging experience and providing them with a motivating career guidance. And in this way, we hope to give them a sense of mastery. Again, since many of them have low self-esteem, allowing them to explore and train in unfamiliar situations in a safe setting. In this way, be better prepared for such situations in real life. We focused on the fishing industry, aquaculture and fish processing, because obviously it's very important for Norway. If you have a salmon for dinner, it's highly likely it comes from Norway. So we created a virtual reality app, Fishery VR, where you can experience being in a Norwegian fjord, feeding the fish, in a fish cage, and then go into a fish processing factory, and then doing different tasks there. So it just starts with a tutorial so the users can get familiar with the interface. And here you see the control unit in the middle of the fjord, the control station where you can feed the salmon. Here you can operate the cameras in different fish cages, and you can start feeding. And also you can actually get immersed and actually swim with the salmon. And this is something you cannot do unless you're a certified diver. Then you can ride the boat around the facility and inspect fish cages. Now you come to the fish processing facility where you have do different tasks, and hygiene, washing hands before going, it's very important. If you don't do that, you don't get your points. And here you sort the fish. The one with the orange dots is the one beaten by the salmon lice. You have to sort it away. Here you have a list of your tasks on a tablet, and you get points for tasks correctly performed. And again, hygiene is very important. Here you see in 360 videos at different stations, you can see how the tasks are actually done at the fish processing facility. And here you can cut the salmon, and your task is to cut as little as possible so you won't ruin these good salmon fillets. Obviously, it's a lot about salmon. Now my colleague will continue with the presentation.
I'll talk a little bit about methodology and the design concept and design methodology that we've derived from the project. So this was one example of one profession, one industry that we worked on. We worked on a few others. So we started with mapping the user needs and developed some prototypes, started with developing for cardboard, and then decided to, instead of developing several simple applications for cardboard, we'll develop one or less, more sophisticated one for HTC Vive. And then we did some evaluations and derived the design methodology. And at the moment, we're working on a few more prototypes for other professions and doing some evaluations outside of the lab. The evaluation that we've conducted so far included two major target groups, the young job seekers and the welfare professionals, different types of career counselors. So we had altogether 55 and 37 people of each group. And if you can see also on the bottom, we work with fairly young job seekers, 21 age, and the counselors are much older, and they have zero experience with computer games and zero experience with AR or VR, and the younger generation obviously has more. We've collected some data. Well, basically every session we gave the participants to try all the demos that we have, and then did a questionnaire, collected some background information and some app-specific questions related to user-friendliness, usefulness, and possible future extensions and suggestions and so on. And also we've evaluated the concept behind the applications. And we looked at how useful that is for increasing confidence and motivation, how if this application should be really offered the welfare centers, and how that would work in practice. So the concept itself, as you remember, the traditional methods of career guidance is either to give the young job seekers a lot of text or some presentations made by companies about different professions, or send them for 1 or 2 months to do an internship. But yeah, the first method relies on a lot of text. The second one is very time-consuming. If this is not your profession, you just lost 1 or 2 months of your life. And the goal of the first one is that you just read it. You don't need to learn anything. And the goal of the second one is to learn it, and they want to test your skills at the internship. And we decided to why don't we use virtual reality and blend these two into something that is better than both? And instead of giving a simple presentation of a workplace, we can capture the workplace, and we can deliver this experience directly to the target audience using the VR simulation. But we don't want to go that far to train people to learn and get the knowledge and the skills of the profession. We want to give them a peek at the profession and a taste of the job, so that they don't need to be trained, and we don't want to care too much about how much they learn, but we want to care that they know what the profession is, what the workplace is, how does it look, how does it feel, and so on. So we sort of reduce a lot the load on how complex the system should be, but we increase a lot the value of the demonstrations that they usually use. And the methodology we developed really is about how to capture the workplace, how to convey it, and how to provide just enough information. So we use different methods for capturing the workplace, and we developed a sort of a methodology of how to present it, which is quite a complicated thing with how to provide enough information about the workplace. So we derived from job announcements for a specific profession that set of skills. And then from the interviews with employers, we've collected the typical tasks the trainees do when they just arrive at the workplace. And then together with the career counselors, we developed the proper feedback messages that we can use in the application. And then we also gamified the process a little bit so that you can collect some points for being accurate or for being good at hands-on or working with tools and so on. And I will invite my colleague back so that he can summarize a little bit and talk about the evaluation results.
Both the job seekers and the councils have been very positive with the concept, and the majority agreed or strongly agreed that such apps should be available for job seekers at schools or at career centers, and also that such apps could give a better confidence in performing work tasks and a better understanding of different professions and workplaces. We have developed different apps. We started with cardboard apps, but they were found to be less user-friendly because you have to navigate with the gaze direction. But obviously they could be useful in some contexts and more accessible. We actually have a cardboard app simulating job interview. So we also used, we developed a HoloLens app, and we received some divided opinions on that. Somebody hated it, somebody loved it. So the absolute favorite was with the high-level VR version with the Vive or mixed reality headsets, the fishy VR that you have seen. So that's why we focused on that. During the evaluation, the users emphasized the importance of realism. But we have been happy to hear that the representative of the salmon production company, Salmon, found our simulation realistic and giving a good representation of typical working tasks, minus the smell of fish. We're still working on that. And also, obviously, you can feel how hard this labor actually is if you're staying there by the conveyor belt for 8 hours or more. The testers experienced sense of mastery connected to choosing the right profession. Been divided views on whether you should have focus on 360 videos or 3D graphics. So we use a combination. Also divided views on gaming elements. Sometimes there could be a distraction. Briefly, some citations. One of the job seekers believe that in a few years this will be one of the main tools used in job seeking. VR is the key to reach people. If somebody wants to apply for a job in fisheries, it could be a good idea to first to test it virtually and then impress the employer at the job interview. Welfare professionals believe that the main goal would be increase of self-efficacy because obviously many of job seekers suffer from low self-esteem. And also it's important to give job seekers more realistic impression of different work settings. Here are quickly the evaluation results. As I said, the vast majority wanted to have such apps at career guidance offices and schools, and the same for welfare professionals. You can see more results in the paper, and here we got also some awards for this app. Went to the finals in Augie Breakthrough Awards, and together with Stanford, NASA, and so on. The budgets are totally uncomparable. And we received the Best Demo Award at the EuroVR conference. And just really quickly, we are continuing with new professions: electrician, windmill operator. Obviously, we focus on manual labor professions that don't require too much education, because in our target group, we have a lot of dropouts who don't finish their education. So here you can climb on the top of the windmill and then perform some task there. So I understand we don't have much time left. So we can just, and here is construction actually, doing the construction work. It involves a lot of digging, again, manual labor, with manually and with a machine as well. Okay, so then we, so just for future work, we're going to validate the job concept outside the lab, actually at the actual career offices and at schools. We're going to implement additional professions if we get additional funding, hopefully, and we are going to develop further the job test methodology. Well, this is our lab. If you are in Trondheim, please drop by, and thank you for your attention.
My name is Svetlana Bialkova, Utrecht University. I really like your presentation and the job you are doing, in particularly the joyful element with the gaming. But I wonder, have you considered, are these participants already in training or they are seeking a job?
Well, we have tested both with, mostly with young unemployed who are registered at the unemployment office, and they're undergoing different activities like career guidance, maybe seeking placement. So we also tested with high school students. So some of them had some job experience, somebody didn't.
Now, my question is particularly related to the fact that you focused on the usefulness of the technology, but you, or at least I did not get from the presentation whether you addressed questions about the training itself and the success rate of pursuing a job career or finding a job when employing your application.
Well, and actually, what we have done so far is testing in the lab conditions. Actually, more studies at the field, at career offices, and then maybe assessing the effects of getting a job and so on. It will be future work. So we have applied for funding to do more of that.
Yeah, I'm particularly asking because we do quite a lot of this stuff in our lab, and we have already developed a couple of questionnaires and a tool in order to evaluate the effectiveness of the use of such kind of technology. So maybe we could chat.
Yeah, definitely we should chat and exchange experiences.
Really enjoying.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.